Hello.
Welcome back to the Let's Debrief podcast.
We have our coffee.
We're ready to go. We're in a new setting.
Yes. Today we're in Ashley's house.
Welcome.
And the reason we're here is because she is having a Galentine's Day party tonight.
Yes. We're all very excited.
Yes. It's kind of like fancy.
I know. Yeah. I feel like I said this in the goals episode, but like we want to like between Cole and I, or even just myself for like girls' nights, I want to host more like dinner parties. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of like our first one. So
I think it is.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I gave everybody a like fun
mood board.
Yeah, literally a fun dress code. We're going to make some pizzas. Jenna brought chocolate covered strawberries. And
maybe people will bring other snacks. We don't know yet.
Yeah. I think someone's bringing charcuterie, but there's like 3 people. Don't know what they're bringing. Hope it's something good. But yeah.
And Monty is wearing her pink outfit. So
she understood.
She is part of the mood board too. So
yeah.
How's it going?
Good. Got a car.
Yes.
Yes. Finally. I know you all were wondering. We finally bought a car, and it is our dream car. I don't even know if I ever had a dream car, but she's perfect. And I know you'll agree because it's the exact same car.
So we have twin cars now. They're black and white.
Yeah, it was for the brand, honestly. Yeah. But 2020 Subaru Forester. We haven't named her yet, and Cole doesn't want to name her.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I feel like naming a car is like more of a college person vibe.
So
high school
grow
or
up.
college person. Because I had a name for my car in high school.
What was your high school car?
This is so cringe. This is literally so cringe, but it was named Albus. From like Harry Potter.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
The last car I had a Toyota Corolla. It was one of my youth students, like when I first got the car, named it Elise because I was leasing the car. And I kept saying to them, because like they would like leave trash in it, and I'd be like, don't do that, it's Elise. And she was like, her name is Elise. So it's kind of hard to follow that up because I felt like that was pretty like iconic. So
I feel like we've been calling ours Subi.
Yeah, just a Sub.
Yeah.
So that's what she'll be, but she's perfect. I love it. I love driving it.
Oh,
and Cole loves like as we like drive places, he's like, there's another one. There's another one.
It's so
They're
weird.
Everywhere.
Once you like, obviously I've said in the podcast that we like ordered this car a year before we actually got it. And it's like once you decide you want a certain car, that's all you see.
Exactly.
And I swear, like in our neighborhood where we live, every house has a Subaru.
There's so many of them.
Yeah.
Even like just in our neighborhood here, there were so many. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, I feel like we're making the right decision. But yep, it's perfect.
A good car.
Now, I guess this is kind of like a life update. I haven't even told you this. We're thinking of changing our whole road trip plan. Now that we have a reliable car, we're like, should we cancel our flights and just drive?
Oh, God. The whole way to Washington.
Yeah, and like stop along the way. It's 36 hours. Like obviously that's a long time, but it would go through like South Dakota, Montana, and other places. Like
I did
Idaho.
that drive before.
Is it pretty? What time of year did you go?
Summer.
Okay. Yeah. We have a little guest today. If you can hear her.
Monty is in the background. So.
She's just talking. So if you hear her, hi Monty.
Yeah.
But so that's what we're thinking now, just because we have a dependable car. It's like every rental car company I've looked at is like $600, and so we're like, should we just get our points back from the flights and just put the $600 into maybe like a rooftop tent situation?
Ooh. Okay, I want a rooftop tent so bad.
Okay,
but they're so expensive.
But in my head, I'm rationalizing if I don't get the rental car, that's $600 extra that I have.
Yeah.
So then, like, there's I've seen some people say that there's like $700 ones, or like nice ones are like
$3,000.
Yeah, like 2 to 3.
I didn't even know there were $700 ones. Like every time I look, they're always like 3.
I know. All of the ones on like REI were like literally from $1,400 to $4,000, and I was like, okay. But also then we talked about like, I know we've been talking about our trip to Maine on the podcast, so Cole and I were saying, like, if we get the rooftop tent and we talked about camping, we're like, that would help alleviate some sleeping, like, arrangements. And so I don't know what we're going to do, but that's where we're at now.
We could also just get normal tents when we're camping in Maine.
Yeah.
Also, I haven't told you this yet either. Jensen, our friend, shout out to Jensen. She's a listener. She's going to be in Maine at the same time as us.
Oh, no way.
Literally the exact same dates. And she's like, we should meet up. I'm like, absolutely.
Let's grab a lobster roll together.
Let's have a little
maybe she can
clam.
be on the podcast.
Oh my God, that'd be so fun. Anyways.
That's so fun. But yeah, we're, to catch everybody up, Jenna was already planning on driving once they got their Subaru and then to Maine, and then us and our friend Peter were going to fly and we'd meet them there and then we'd have a car. But now that we also have a car, we're like, should we also just drive?
I feel like it'd be so fun to like both drive up together and we like drive side by side.
Yeah, and we've never done a road trip together.
No, we always fly.
Yeah, we always fly. And like in Colorado, obviously we did like the camper van, and the same, I guess, with Hawaii too. But it's like we never have left our houses and gone on a trip together.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy.
I think that would be so fun. And yeah. Subarus are made for driving. But we like literally need to be sponsored by Subaru because we've talked about it in like every episode.
Oh, also, we're drinking Kelvin coffee today.
Again.
We talked about that in a recent episode, but as I was picking up coffees today, I was like, Kelvin, if you want to sponsor us, give us a little code for our locals here in Pittsburgh.
Literally.
We wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
What's your update?
My update is that we redid our kitchen.
Yay.
Last week. So it was kind of like on the agenda for this winter in general. And then last Monday morning, we literally woke up. It's like 8 a.m. and Tanner just goes, we're doing the kitchen this week. Let's go. We're going to Lowe's. And I'm like, all right.
It's so funny because especially like Tanner, he asked us like for opinions for so long. So I was like, he's still probably like thinking about it like a month or two out. And then you just like sent us a photo from Lowe's. And I was like, oh, they're like doing it today.
And it's so funny because like, yeah, he debated like the colors for so long. He's like, what should we do? Blah, blah, blah. And then literally that morning he had like all of these colors from Sherwin-Williams. And he's just like, how about this one? I'm like, cool. Sure. And then we just did it. Like, and
you just need to do that sometimes. Like,
you do.
It's happening.
Yeah. So we spent last week doing that, and it should be fully done by tomorrow, like complete, except for bar stools. But yeah, it's like completely different than it used to be. It was all wood with like green Formica countertops, and now it's different opposite in stories.
Yes, we will definitely post. Yeah, it literally like, and also like you did it all so cheap. Like,
oh my gosh!
It doesn't look cheap, but you did it for cheap.
Like it looks like
crap. Interesting. No, it looks so good, and I remember just being like, "Oh my gosh! Like, how much did these brand new countertops run you?" And you were like, "Literally $200 because I painted them."
Yeah, we got like an epoxy kit from Amazon, which Tanner went to get new countertops completely, and I was like, "What if we just try this epoxy? It's only $200, and like we'll see how it goes, and then if we hate it, then we can take the jump on the $2,000 counters." But yeah, so we did the epoxy and it looks so
good. Yeah, and the open shelves, everything. You'll just, you're gonna be posting TikToks too, aren't you? Oh, sorry, I caught you in a sip.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make like a, I took some time lapses. I'm gonna try to do like the little voiceover thing where I'm like, hey guys, look at how I did my
Welcome
kitchen
back.
for cheap. And like they always talk at like kind of like a quick pace. They're like, anyway, so then I was putting up the things and then we ran into a problem.
Have you tried it before?
No.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
I like tried to do, this was like over a year ago. I like was doing like a cute little like vloggy thing and I was trying to narrate it and I was like, ew.
And then
I hated that.
And then I went to lunch and I got my chicken salad.
And I was like, oh, it's moving on fast. Oh my gosh. Okay. So then we were here. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to try that. We'll see how it goes, but I'll post it in the stories when this comes out.
But yay. Big life updates, I feel like.
Yeah.
Nice. I don't think we've announced our topic, but you guys have asked for more stories from us, which is amazing. We're glad you love them. I feel like everybody loved our travel stories and just
everybody loved it.
You really just ate it up, didn't you?
They're begging for more.
So today we wanted to talk about a very pivotal season of our life that was spent. Are we saying like the?
No, we can't say.
Okay.
I don't think. I feel like it's when we became true besties.
True besties. Like, okay, I know we've told you guys how we met and everything, but to paint the picture, we like became friends in like 2019. Yeah. It was like, the summer of like 2019. And we were like hanging out more and like, okay, cool. And then my lease was ending where I was staying at the time. And so you were like, start looking for apartments in our area. And I was like, okay, cool. And
we're always trying to get people to like move where we're living.
Literally, Cole and I live in Plum. That's like an hour away from Jen and Dan. And they're like, so when are you moving here? Huh?
Every time.
Actually, there's a house for sale on our street. When are you going to move here? But in this instance, I did want to move next to you guys because I was living in an area by myself. Like, it was old people. So I wanted to get out. And so I found an apartment literally down the street from them. And it was the exact same like footprint.
It was like row houses. Yeah. And they all had the exact same layout. And so like genuinely it was the same house on the same street. And so she moved there and like almost immediately the pandemic happened.
Literally the day. So like I went to California for family. I was helping my aunt out with something. And even like the day before I left, it was like coronavirus. And I was like, should I still go? What's happening? It was so early. And literally I left. And the minute I got on my second plane, they were like, oh, the world's shutting down. And I was like, okay, cool. And so spent the weekend in California, turned around and came back. And it was moving day, like literally the day that I got back. So moved in like 2 days after the world shut down. And truly was like the best thing that happened to me. If I was stuck in my old apartment and
you would have just had to move in with us, honestly.
Literally. Yeah, because all of our friends, like we had friends like that already lived in that area.
Yeah, there was like six or seven of us.
Yeah.
And we all just like from the get-go were like, we're quarantining together. Obviously, like we would go back to our own houses, but we would like only see each other for the whole time. And it was truly one of the best times of my life. Like,
we joke all the time that like we would do it. I just remember I have such a vivid memory of like maybe day 2 or 3 of quarantine, and Jenna and I were walking, and we were walking Buddy, her dog, and we were like, our kids are gonna read about like this time in our life that we're experiencing like in history class one day. Yeah. And that's crazy.
And they will, and nothing has ever been the same.
Yeah, truly. But we were having the time of our lives.
Yeah, so we were quarantining together, and it was all our friends. It was super fun. We did a bunch of fun stuff. The problem, though, it's not a problem, but the stories that came out of this is because we were not living in the safest neighborhood.
Yes, that's fair. And we were both naive.
We did not realize that it wasn't safe when we moved there. It's not that it wasn't safe. Like, there were families that lived there. Yeah. But there was also just some...
Personally, now looking back as I felt comfortable because you guys were in the same area. But moving in, I was getting to be living there by myself as a 22-year-old female. Yeah. That was not the vibe. Luckily, that made this experience a little bit safer is I did end up getting an unexpected roommate, which is another fun story, but I was living there with someone else, so I felt a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, but it was definitely like not the best neighborhood, and that's kind of where most of our stories came from because there were some sketchy instances.
Yes, it was definitely something. Did yours happen in COVID or was it before?
I think it was before.
Okay, I wasn't 100% sure because I was like, that's so weird that like somebody was out and about.
Should I?
A stranger.
Should I just tell?
Yeah, you just go into yours. Yeah.
Okay, so Tanner and I had lived in this house for probably 6 months at this point, and I will say we're not the best at locking our doors. We are now.
So their address now is.
We're much better now, especially with the baby. But at that time, it was also kind of like, Well, what do we even have that someone would want to steal? Like, obviously our laptops and our camera gear, but like, it was like always in our office. I don't know. It just like was like, what are you gonna steal my TV?
Also, it was like very convenient being your friend, knowing that your doors were always unlocked because I could just waltz on in.
And people did waltz in. It's some interesting times. But I'll tell the story after. But so we would lock our doors if we were leaving for a long time, but we wouldn't like just day to day. So the one day Tanner went to the gym and I left to go get my nails done. And
also like literally right around the corner.
Yes, both the gym and the nails were right around the corner. So I left to go get my nails done. And then he left for the gym, but he ran there, which I didn't know. I thought he drove. It like it was maybe a mile. So sometimes he would run there, sometimes he would drive. I just didn't know. But so I came home from getting my nails done, and there was a man on our porch, and our front door was open.
And you're like, oh?
And I was like,
yeah, what was your first instinct?
I just thought it was like maybe like a salesman and like the door had like blown open or something. I have no idea what I thought. Because like almost immediately when I pull up, he goes, "Is this your house?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, my friend is in there and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's violent or not." That's what the first thing that he said to me.
And you're just like, are you not violent either?
I was like, okay. So I immediately look and I see that Tanner's car is still there. I didn't know he had ran.
No.
So I was like, Tanner's in there. And a guy just like walked in with a gun and it shot him. Like that was my first instinct was that he was dead, like just shot on the floor. So of course I didn't even think about it. And like obviously looking back, this was not the best move, but I just walked in the house. Like I just barged past the guy and I'm like,
where's my husband?
Yeah, like if he's dead, might as well shoot me too. So I was just like, okay. So I just went in the house. And as I'm walking in, I'm calling 911. And it's so funny because I've never had to call 911 in like an actual situation where I was actually scared.
Yeah.
Only like random. I've called it before, like where I would hear like something in the street and I'd be like, maybe
there's
I should
something
call
going
about
on.
that.
Yeah.
But like genuinely, like I was like going like this. If anyone's watching on Spotify or YouTube, you can see I'm literally shaking my phone and I was like 911. It's like in a dream when you have to call 911 and you like can't press the numbers.
Yeah.
So I called and they're like, "Hey, what's your emergency?" And like literally I'm on the phone. I'm like, someone's in my house. Like I could not get the words out. And like they're like, "What's your address?" And I'm like, and like I could not say what was happening. But also, so like at the same time I'm on the phone with them, the friend who's on the porch kept yelling like, "You have to come down, like stop, like this isn't your house," like all this stuff. And then
which is like, why are you standing? I mean, I guess he didn't want to get in trouble for trespassing, but it's like at this point I'm home, go get him.
Yes, like keep him away from me. But again, I still didn't know if Tanner was home or not. So then the guy comes down the stairs, like from our upstairs, and he's holding like a leaf, which it was not from my house. It was a different leaf. He's holding it like out in front of him and like shaking it like a lot. And he was on drugs. He was like, his eyes were just, he looked like a zombie.
Ugh.
His eyes were just like not there, like so glassy. And he's just like coming down the steps real slow with like this leaf and like looking so scary at me. And I'm just like standing there like on the phone with 911 and he's looking at me and I'm like, yep. He's in.
He's
certainly here. I've locked eyes with him.
I locked eyes on the target.
It was so scary. My heart was beating so fast, and I'm still like, did he kill my husband upstairs? And so then he's like, "Sorry, I'm just looking for my cats. I'm just looking for my cats." Like he just kept saying that, and I'm like, "Your cats aren't here, buddy.
Keep moving.
Keep moving. Check the next house." And so, anyways. The friend kept saying, "This isn't your house, this isn't your house." And he's like, "No, my cats are upstairs," like blah, blah, blah. And so anyways, eventually the friend was like, "Come on." And the guy like walked past me, like out the door, and I'm just like standing there frozen, and they leave. Of course, I'm happy that they left, but then I'm sad because like genuinely 30 seconds later, the police pull up and they're like, where are they? And I'm like, I don't know. And
did they drive away or just walk away?
I still have no clue. Like,
just like
none.
blacked out.
Yeah. So then the cops came in, and they were genuinely doing that thing that they do in Criminal Minds where they like have the gun and they like back up to the door, and then they like hit the door and then
like,
point the gun in the room. And I'm like, oh God. Also, sorry, as soon as I finished calling 911, I called Tanner, and he's like, I'm at the gym. What's up? And I'm like, someone was in here, and I thought you were dead. And he's like, okay, but he didn't have his car.
Yes, the literal terrible day to run, not walk, to run to the gym and be without your car.
So he's like, okay, I'll run home right now. And I'm like, hurry up. So he's running home while the police are like doing all of their investigative stuff. And anyways, obviously nothing was in there except he literally took our Xbox.
Wait, he did?
No, so he like obviously was in the process of taking it because it was off of its like thing on our dresser, and we used to always watch TV with our Xbox.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like still a thing, but it was on our dresser, and it was like on the ground, like it's cord wrapped around it. So I'm like,
interesting. I didn't know that part.
Yeah, so he was obviously trying to take that, which is interesting because, so fast forward, I end up going to the police station. They show me like a bunch of pictures. It was literally like genuinely from Criminal Minds. They show me all these black and white pictures in this folder. They're like, is this him? And every single one I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, you're like completely doubting everything you
know.
saw.
And then I saw the one that was him, and I was like, oh yeah, that one's him. And at first I was like, can you show me all the suspects at once? They're like, no, we have to show you each one by one. So it was interesting. But once I saw the one that was him, I'm like, okay, that's him. They're like, cool, yeah, that's him. And then they told me his name, and he used to live there. That was his house that he grew up in his whole life.
What?
And so like he was a known drug dealer in the area. He was obviously like on drugs.
I actually didn't know he was a drug dealer.
Yeah, and they were searching for him for a long time. I forgot to tell you that too.
No.
Yeah, so they were searching for him, and he grew up in that house. He was obviously high, and he just like went to our house and was like, oh, this is my house, and was like going in. I don't know if like at some point he realized it's not mine, but I guess steal the Xbox, or maybe he thought it was his Xbox,
and he was just taking it elsewhere.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta take this on the go. I need to play in my car. But so yeah, and then he went to jail.
I didn't. Okay, there's so many parts of the story. I didn't know they actually ever caught him. And I didn't know he went to jail.
Yeah, they caught him, and
do you know if the friend got in trouble?
Oh, I have no clue. But this guy. So sorry. Then like 3 weeks later, we wake up to a cop pounding on our door, and Tanner goes down. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" And the cop was like, "Aren't you coming to the trial?" And we're like, what trial? Like, they're like, we called you. And we're like, no, you did not. And he's like, you have to come testify against this guy. And we were like, no one called us.
Wait, like, is it happening? And they're like,
yes,
they just went to your door because you didn't show up?
They like literally, apparently like stopped it. They're like, you didn't show up to testify. And it's like, we got to convict this guy. And Tanner's like, no one called us. He's like, look in your voicemails on your phone. And we're both like, there's nothing here. And he's like, man, I really thought we called you. I'm like, yeah, we didn't.
Also, like, you didn't personally press charges.
Yeah, it was just because, like, that was how they caught him from being a drug dealer. So, anyways, he went to jail. We never went to the trial. We were like, sorry, we're not coming. And, like, apparently there's enough evidence to, like, do it in other ways. But, yeah, so that was my story of someone breaking into my house. Oh, I also forgot to say that he had a key that was in our door. And he was like, yeah, I unlocked it with my key because it's my house. And we were like, that's probably not good. But, like, can any key just fit in a door and it doesn't turn? Because it definitely was unlocked. Yeah. But it still fit.
I feel like that's what I remember you saying, that he had a key. So it's like, at that point, it didn't even matter if you locked your doors because he had a key, which it's like,
But
that's terrifying.
Yeah, but the landlord was like, no, I changed all the locks. Because he came and changed the locks again. I called him. And he was like, I changed them. So
I think sometimes like they fit, but yeah, maybe they won't turn. Maybe.
Yeah. So maybe he thought that it turned because it was unlocked. But like the key was in the door, so that freaked me out. But I'm not kidding. Like Ashley was like, I won't throw you under the bus and say this. But like we kept leaving our doors unlocked after that.
I don't know. You're so trusting. Also, like what she would always like, honestly, it's like I commend her for not being as like anxious as I am. But like there would be nights like Tanner would be at the gym or something, or like shooting something for church, and I would be over and you're like, you want to walk buddy with me? And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go. But it would literally be like 10 p.m. and we'd be walking buddy and I'd be on edge the entire time. But like, I'm like, I'm glad I'm going with you, because she used to always do it by herself. And I'm like, Jenna, you cannot be walking around here in the pitch black with your dog.
Yeah, it's actually crazy because after I like got into true crime, which I do not listen to anymore, but once I got into that, I was like, why did I ever do that?
You're
But
so
like,
snatchable.
I just had no, like, I just didn't care. I was just like, oh.
You're very trusting, which,
Yeah.
again, I commend you for. Obviously, nothing ever happened.
Except someone coming into
Except
my
someone
house.
breaking into your house, but you never
And-
snatched.
Yeah, never snatched, never an attempted snatch. But
Attempted snatch.
yeah, so you have kind of a similar story. But
Yeah, this was crazy. So it's so funny because like we talked about like, oh, we're gonna tell these stories, but then I was like, I have to like think about mine because I feel like it was so layered and it went on for so long. It wasn't like one instance, but essentially, me and my roommate, we'll call her. Why can I
Sarah.
Sarah. Okay, I was like, why can I literally not think of any normal name?
We'll call her Ashley.
Let's call her Ashley. We'll call her Sarah. Also, so again, we have the same footprint of our house and everything, but we had grass in the backyard, and you guys had like cobblestone. And then we had like a little bit of like dirt in the front yard. And so this was the first time that I was like, oh, I need someone to mow my grass. When I also say, though, I have no idea how to measure square feet, but it was the tiniest, like plot
It was
of
probably like
grass.
10 by 10,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, it was so tiny, like not even anything. But I was like, I'm not going to mow the grass. And so I was like,
Well, because then you have to buy a lawnmower, which just feels so annoying. And then you're like, when I move, what am I going to do with the lawnmower?
Yeah.
I'm going to move a lawnmower?
Exactly. I was just like, I'll find somebody. So then we move in, and one day this guy is like going door to door, and he was like, oh, I like mow a lot of lawns around here. Like, do you want me to mow your lawn? And I was like, yes, actually. Also, let's call him Bob. Like, that'll be his name because
What was his actual name? Okay.
So Bob like comes to my door, and he's like,
He listens to this. He's like,
you are. I'm coming for you.
He's his first name. He's like,
what? He's gonna sue me for
Slander,
defaming his name. He's like, I mow so and so's lawn down the street. So like, do you want me to mow your lawn? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And so then I was like, how much do I owe you? Again, literally being the smallest patch of grass. And he was like, oh, I just like tell everybody you can pay what you want. So I had no frame of reference for how much this was going to cost. And so I was just like, okay, I cut him a check for $30. And and also when I gave it to him, I instantly knew it was a lot for what he did, because he goes, thank you so much. And I was like, oh no. And so I remember
the worst, because I'm pretty sure at the time I said this to you, I was like, now you have to pay him that much every time.
Yeah, what if I cut back then next time? And he's like,
He's like, did you not like the length it was?
Yeah. And so I remember telling Tanner and Joe, and they were like, $30. They're like, that's so much money for mowing grass. And I was like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
No.
We have like an acre of land almost. And our nephew mows our lawn, and we pay him $25.
That's so funny.
That gives you.
No, it probably, looking back on it, warranted
maybe 10. Maybe. Yeah.
So because I was a faithful customer, he just kept coming back. And so he would literally, like, he said, I think, that he would come every other week. So I was like, well, I'm not paying you $30 every other week. $60 for
a month?
Yeah, this is
also,
insane.
Let me just add that you never used this yard, ever.
No, I think I laid a towel down and laid in the sun one day that summer. Like, it was so dumb. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, he would come back like every other week, and I'd be like, no, like, we're good, Bob. Like, we're good. like, not this time. But then I went on, like, for several, like, times that he came, like, paying him the $30 still. And I was like, I think maybe one time I would, like, cut it back to, like, 20. And then
did he say anything?
I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure he was, like, he kind of reacted like, okay, like, see ya.
You were his highest paying customer. For
real, in the entire neighborhood. And so, and, like, again, there were no, like, weird vibes, like, off the bat. He was very respectful, and it was very chill, and, like, he said he did the lady's yard next door, so I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, people trust him.
Exactly. So then, he keeps coming, and then I tell Sarah, my roommate, I'm like,
I was like, wait, who's Sarah?
I'm like, I think, like, we need to, like, cut back, or, like,
cut him off.
We just need to cut him off, because he started showing up, like, every week. Yeah. And being like, can I, oh my gosh, wait. No, there was this one time he showed up, and he had, like, just mowed the grass, like, the day before, and he was like, it's my birthday, like, can you give me money for next week? Like, can you give me, like, the next 2 weeks in advance? And I was like, no, like, I'm sorry, like, I don't have, like, checks right now. I don't remember what I said, but I was just like, no, like, sorry, that's not gonna work. And so then I start telling Sarah, like, okay, like, I think we need to cut him off. Like, I don't think it's worth it. Like, we can find somebody else. Like, I think a guy at church was also starting, like, his lawn mowing business. So I was like, I'll just reach out to him.
Like, I can cut it with the scissors.
Literally, oh my gosh, literally could, like, take, like, hedge, like, trimmers to it. Also, to give me earn me some respect back here, I didn't pay him $30 a week every time. I said, why don't you come every other week? Or, like, actually, we can see that we only need it once a month. Like, I tried to get him to, like, stay away. But then when he came and asked for the money in advance, I was like, we got to draw the line.
It's also kind of scary that he, like, knew that you lived there as well. Like, that was, like, it's not like he's just, like, you see him when you're walking to work and...
Yeah. Well, and there were a few times, like, there was a coffee shop, like, by our house that, like, we would walk to sometimes. And me and Sarah one time were, like, on our way back, and we, like, saw him. And I was like, that's like, Bob. No. And I was like, no. And he, like, would, like, mow lawns for, like, people in the area. And so I was like, okay, I'm just, like, overthinking it. But then there was, like, one time that, like, I saw him, like, across the street, and it, like, looked like he was, like, strung out or, like, on drugs or something. So I was like, okay. So after he asked for the money in advance, I was like, we have to draw the line. So I kept telling Sarah, I was like, you need to tell him, or, like, something like that. I was like, you be the bigger person and, like, you say something. And so there was one day that it worked out perfectly, that he was at the neighbor's house, and we were leaving, like, Sarah and I were, like, leaving together to go somewhere, and we both just walked up to him and we were like, hey, like, we just wanted to tell you, like, thank you so much for everything you've done, but, like, we actually don't need you anymore. Like, you're just not gonna do it, or something like that.
Or, like, our landlord's gonna do it, or something.
Yeah, we made up some excuse, and he was like, oh, okay, all right. And I was like, okay, see ya. Also, I'm pretty sure, like, the neighbor too was like, here's your $5, Bob. Like, she was literally paying him $5, and I was like, no
wonder he was like, I can swindle these girls. Because
oh my gosh. And we were like just both very sweet and naive, had no idea.
Yeah.
So then this is where, like, it takes a turn, which also Jenna has mentioned before. We have a lot of Ring doorbell stories. So the minute I moved into this house, my parents were like, I'm buying you a Ring doorbell. And so
it's so funny because both of our sets of parents were, like, a little concerned that
yeah. So, like, immediately they're like, oh wait, like, because in the apartment I was in before, like, this was, like, definitely, like, an apartment, but more of, like, a house. Still, it was, like, kind of like a duplex. And so
like a townhome.
Yeah. But yeah, I was at an apartment before that, like, had a door, like, leading into the apartment building, so it was, like, much more secure. So they were like, oh, people could just walk up to your porch. Like, no, we're getting your Ring camera. So I'm at work one day, And wait, no, okay, sorry. I am laying in bed, and I had seen on the Ring doorbell, this was like midnight, but I had seen on the Ring doorbell throughout the day that Bob had like stopped by, and I was like, well, that's super annoying because I said told him to go away and
get away,
get out of here. And so he like had come by the house, and I was like, I think I was like at somewhere, and I was like, oh, okay, like whatever, he's just stopping by, maybe asking for more money, but both of us weren't there, so it was fine. But then I'm watching the video, and in the video he like knocks on the door and then like looks around and attempts to unlock the door, like open the door, and he like twists the door handle, and I was like, oh my god.
Because it's like, okay, what if you were in there and you just weren't answering, or what if it wasn't locked? I know. And then he's like looking in the backyard to like see, because like my roommate had a dog, and so I think if he was seeing if like she was in the backyard with the dog, like was being so shady. And so I immediately like, I think like Sarah and I had like just gone to bed, and I immediately like texted her and was like, oh my god, like. Wait, sorry, what time was this?
Midnight. But like he wasn't there at midnight. It was like it happened earlier in the day, but I just was like, what was Bob like wanting earlier? And it was as I was watching the video that like I saw him like attempt the door, and I was like,
so it was broad daylight that he tried to do it.
It was so weird. We'll definitely post the video. We'll block out his face, but we'll post the video on, because I still have it saved to my phone.
Oh my
100%.
God.
And so I was like, okay, so this is where I don't know if you people out there would make the same choice, but I decided, I was at work one day, I took a screenshot because I was like, I don't have this guy's number, he would just show up.
Yeah.
And so I decided to take a screenshot of the video of the Ring doorbell of him trying to attempt to open the door.
Hand on the doorknob.
And I said, Bob, like, so I printed off the photo, and in big letters said, Bob, we have you on camera attempting to break in. If you come back here, I will be calling the police. And so then I just taped it to our door.
I forgot a lot of these details.
I know. I taped it to our door. An old man was like shared like the like duplex like on the other side of us, and he was like, what'd you put up there? And I was like, oh, Bob, like, yeah, he like attempted to like open our door. And he was like, oh yeah, like that's scary. And I was like, yeah, you're telling me. So he's like, we'll be on the lookout. And I am at work, I get the notification that he's there, and
like, it's time.
I'm pretty sure like Peter and Katie like were at work with me, and I was like, let's watch it together. Like watch it all unfold.
Were you scared that he was gonna come when you were there?
Oh, terrified.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then be like, what the?
Literally every single time that like I left my house, I was like doing like double takes, like, is because he would just walk the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my gosh.
It's really interesting. Well, I guess because you said earlier that we had cobblestone, which we did. Like, I had never seen him ever.
Yeah. But like my street was literally right here, and Jenna was like up one. It was so close. And so he sees like he's like knocks on the door, and then he like sees like the note on the door, and he like presses up against it because he's like, wait, like, is this like, my picture? Me? Which is so funny because I feel like if I saw like a note on somebody's door, I would look first. But he had his head down, and then he like saw it and like pressed it, and was like his eyes got all big, and he was just like and like started pacing like back and forth on our porch. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is he gonna do?
Also, it's like, okay, he tried to open your door when there was obviously a camera there. Like, how did he not notice that?
People that do stuff like on Ring doorbells, like even now, I'm just like, what?
If you're gonna be a criminal, at least look for
target somebody without a camera.
Yeah.
So then so he saw it, and he kind of paces, and then like goes down into the street, like paces a little bit more, and then like leaves. And
why was he pacing? Was he like waiting? Like,
I'm like, what was your thought process? I don't remember if he came back again, but I do remember it might have been the day, like, we had told him not to come back, and then it might have been a time in between this, but we called the cops at some point. I don't remember at what point that it was, maybe he came back after the letter, but I'm pretty sure he stopped. We called the cops, and the cops were like, oh yeah, we know Bob. And I was like,
the cops in this neighborhood are just like,
they know everybody.
That guy too. Yep. He's always prowling.
He's always on the prowl. And so they were like, we know Bob. And he was like, oh, I see him all up at the gas station like every week. So if I see him next time, I'll just tell him not to come back to this address. And I was like, okay, thanks. Like,
and it's like kind of scary too, because you're like, the more that like this stuff happens is gonna make him like angry.
Oh yeah, I was like, is he gonna come back for revenge?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was scary. Every like house that I've lived in, I've always had an alarm, but that was like the only, I mean, not the apartment like before that, but like growing up, we always had alarms. And like my family was very much like, we lock the doors, we're triple checking everything before we go to sleep. And because California, it's just a little rougher, you know.
Rough around the edges.
We were the first ones to have like people stealing stuff off the porch.
That would make me so mad.
Oh my gosh, I know. This is off topic. A couple weeks ago, we were in Cabo and they had stuff delivered, and then one of my packages like wasn't here when I got back, and I was like, did somebody steal it? But it was literally like a bikini top, and so I'm pretty sure it just blew away.
That sucks.
It sucked so bad. I was like,
a bikini top, like you get so excited for stuff like that, and you're just like,
and
bye.
it was one that was long awaited because I had to return it, and then I had to get a different size, and it was like a whole thing, and then for it to just blow away,
you're like, awesome.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so that was the last time like we ever saw Bob. I saw him in the neighborhood a few times, but I don't know if he just didn't come back like to our street. Like I don't know if he stopped doing the ladies' yard next door, because I like never saw him after that. And we only lived there a year, and that was like he was there through the summer, and then like the winter happened, and then we moved out.
Yeah. I wonder if the cop did say something to him, and that was like what
he really
did it,
stayed away,
because that would do it for me.
Yeah, that would be just enough for me
to stop trying to break into people's house.
Yeah,
you want to know something that I think about all the time? I would be so nervous to break into someone's house.
How do people have the guts like that? They're literally just like, I'm gonna go do this right now.
They have to be on drugs.
Have to,
because it's like,
you're not in a sober mind at all.
Just imagine it's nighttime, okay? You're just say you're in this neighborhood, and you just look at a house, you're like, what would happen if I broke into that? Like, can you imagine going into someone's window or something and like sneaking through and like knowing that they're asleep? Like, that's way scarier than
being the one attacked. No way. It's the unknown of being the one like attacked. It's just like, who, like, for you, like, it was like, was Tanner there? Was he not there? Like, it's terrifying.
Truly.
So we don't say these stories to scare you, but just like, it's funny.
Yeah, nothing really that like bad happened,
No.
but we both did move out to safer neighborhoods the next, like, when our leases were up.
Yeah, but that year was iconic.
It was so much fun. Like,
So
we had the
much fun.
best times, and I feel like that was my last year where I was this sounds so depressing, where I was like truly carefree. Yeah. Like, I was just like, oh, someone breaks in my house, because like the next year when we moved, like, I don't know, I just felt like more adult responsibility, and like
you had a bigger, like, that, like I said, like the houses in the neighborhood that we were in, they were like houses, like,
yeah, they were,
but they were just like tinier, but then you moved into like a home, like,
yeah, and like, I don't know, I just felt like more responsibility over things, and then obviously I got pregnant in that house, so then I was like, nothing can happen to me now. And so that was like, I don't know, the last time that I was just like I would walk and just be like, oh, whatever, like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like you still continued to walk like in like your new neighborhood, but it was 10 times safer.
10 times safer, but I was more scared for some reason.
Oh, weird. You had gotten into your true crime, though.
The true crime will truly ruin your brain.
Yeah.
It is.
I listened to the Up and Vanish podcast. Hello, shout out. But I listened to like the first season of that, and I was just like, interesting. Like, and it's, this guy like literally like solved, like he has like helped solve like cold cases. And so it was very interesting. But that's all the dabbling I've done in true crime, because I know that I would be up at night. I
would listen to like every single episode of My Favorite Murder. And it's actually interesting, not to like throw them under the bus specifically, but like another podcast that we listened to, they were talking about like, is this exploiting like people's like families that like have lost loved ones.
It is
and
so, yeah, I feel like
they're making money on it. Like,
Yeah.
it's their career.
it's so interesting now. I feel that like reasoning or whatever has just started to come up of like, wait, like you're
Is this
exploiting this,
ethical?
but it's been going on for
And it
years.
is so, it's so hard because like I would listen to it now even, like it's so interesting, but like it's like the consequence of it. Like I can't deal with it.
Because in a way, it's like, in some ways, it's like, are they bringing awareness? It's like, don't go walking in the woods.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously we already know that, but so like, really don't go do this. Or like,
Yeah.
make sure that you're locking your doors. I don't know.
It's interesting how as humans we like gravitate towards like stuff like that that's like not good.
Yeah.
But like our brains are just so interested in it.
Yeah. Also, a story that we were going to talk about, and we can talk very briefly before we wrap up, is the crawl.
Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. I was going to say before, whenever we said like people would walk into our house unexpectedly.
This is a great story.
I feel like this is fine to say. So whenever Tanner and I got married, I decided that every holiday I would dress up as a sexy version of something from that holiday.
You want to give any
Yeah, so like
examples?
once I was like a Christmas tree or like a present. Just like cute, like playful, whatever things.
I feel like it's such a fun tradition.
It is.
I look forward to knowing what you
Yes.
are.
Sometimes I'll send Ashley a pic of my outfit. But so obviously it was Easter coming up, and so I had to buy some bunny ears.
Obviously.
And it was not the time that I was executing the bunny ear outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wearing the ears. Like I came home with them. I was like, I got the ears, and like I was just wearing them, and you know, it was escalating slightly.
Yeah.
And we were in our house.
That's the thing. In the comfort of your own home.
Yes.
Nothing's weird about this.
Yeah. It wasn't escalating a lot, just a little. And you can, decide.
Let your mind decide what
your
it
mind
is.
wander. But our friend literally walked in our door, and he's like, how would you describe him? Like, he's just like the most oblivious friend ever. And he just like came in. He's like, oh, I was just coming to get a screwdriver.
Also, he was coming to get a screwdriver that I needed. So he had walked from, did you know this?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had walked from my house because he was like helping me put something together. And I was like, go the table. Which is, another story. But he was helping me put this like bedside table together. And I was like, I don't have like the correct screwdriver, but Tanner definitely does. Just walk over to Tanner's house. And he was like, okay. And we tried to call you guys, but both of your phones were dead.
Yeah. So he just walked in. And then he was like, oh God. And of course I'm wearing the bunny ears. And then it's like, okay, how do I explain this? Like, it just is a bad look then at that point.
Also, did he come in, or was he like just standing like in the doorway and Tanner like caught eyes with him?
I think he was in the door, and like our door had glass on it. But we were like 3 rooms back, if that makes sense. So we were far in the distance, but I think he just like knocked or something.
Terrifying, though.
And we were just like, okay. But then I'm like, okay, well, now I have to explain why I'm wearing the ears. And it was a whole thing. But that was that story. But so
sorry, that story was just so funny, again, for it to happen to that friend. And I remember him coming back to my house, and he was like,
I saw something.
I think I just saw something that I wasn't supposed to. But yes, so something that we did when
we had to make our own fun in this time, which is why it was such an iconic time.
Yes, and like we all like we said, sorry that we keep saying that, like we all lived within literally like a mile radius. Like we had a mile like to this friend, like, and there was like 8 of us.
Yeah. So we would obviously like just in quarantine always try to come up with fun things to do. And so we came up with this idea that we called the crawl. And it was basically like, it was in the summer, and every person's house in this radius had a game, a drink, and food. Mm-hmm. And we would walk from house to house. And then there was like teams. So you were on the team with who you lived with, and you had uniforms. And there was like scores being kept of who won, and then there was a champion at the end.
Yeah.
And
do you remember who won?
Yeah, it was Matt Madison.
Aw, cute.
But it was so much fun. And at our house, we got Chick-fil-A catering. And that was like the final house that we all ended at. And for our game, we did like a trivia on like a big board that like asked questions about everyone.
That was so much fun.
It was so fun. And we did like a big kickball game. It was like a full day. It was like a field day.
Oh, yeah. It was a full day. We started with brunch at mine and Sarah's house.
Yes.
And my parents came and made Eggs Benedict for everybody because you had to start off like...
Yeah, you got to get
something full on your stomach. And we did mimosas. Did we do a game at my house? I don't remember. I don't think we did.
know.
Which would be weird, but...
Yeah.
Anyways, we started...
We made that freshly mowed lawn.
That freshly mowed lawn. I had the option to. And then we walked everywhere because we were going to be drinking throughout the day. And we were like, we don't want to be driving to every person's house. And so from our house, we went to our friends Matt and Peter's house. I guess it's not weird to name drop. But we went to their house and played a lot of games there. It felt like we played
a lot. We played Pong and I think Can Jam. I think they were set up side by side.
Yeah,
and then like we had scores of like who was doing everything. And then from there, that was a long walk then
this was a long
field.
walk to the field that was by our other friend's house, Joe, Brett, and Bryce.
And there we played Frisbee and kickball, I think. Or
the kickball was at your house.
At your house, technically.
Oh, maybe it was. Like, it was since it was the field by our house. But yeah, I think Can Jam happened there.
Oh.
And then I think we were hitting a lull in the day.
And
like,
Frisbee.
We had been drinking and it was hot. And so we were just like, okay, we need water. And so I think, like, people went and grabbed water and, like, needed to go to the bathroom. But it was, like, a full day endeavor.
It was until, like, 10 p.m.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah, I think from there we went and played kickball. And then we came back to your house for Chick-fil-A and trivia. I'm not really sure where the night ended, but...
I think we had a fire.
That is so sweet.
So
it was
sweet.
Such a fun time. And we talk about it to this day. Like, we're just like the crawl. And we were like, this is going to be an every year thing. Literally none of us lived in the same
We all
area.
moved that exact year.
Yes. Nobody
But
stayed.
it was legendary.
Oh my gosh. It was so much fun. And like, yeah, we took film photos. One of like, I think the photos on our Instagram is from the crawl.
Definitely is. Like, me and Tanner made shirts.
Oh yeah. We were like,
we all had uniforms.
We all had uniforms. I found these little buttons that had our the area that we lived in on it.
The secret area.
The secret name, if you know, is obviously you know where it was. But it just was so cool.
It was so fun. And honestly, that's just what I loved about the pandemic. Like, I feel like it just made you do things that you wouldn't have done because, like, A, you had the time, and B, like, you were bored. So you're like, let's make something good of this.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, we had a great time.
But yeah, if you live close to your friends, do your own crawl.
Yes.
Because we can't anymore. Ligonier would literally be the perfect place for a crawl now. Well, maybe not the perfect place for a crawl, but like for activities.
Just move into our neighborhood.
Exactly. That's the solution.
We'll
just have a crawl between ourselves.
We have the pool.
Have the pool. You got fields and rivers and streams nearby.
Yeah. It's time. We'll do it this year.
Oh, yeah. That'd be so much fun. We could go from your house to Cole's parents' house. Just walk 30.
Literally walk 5 miles on the highway.
Yeah. But, yeah, that is our wrap for
Our
our
scary
stories today. Our terrifying stories. Be better than us. Lock your doors. Don't give people that mow your lawn $30.
Literally. And hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day.
Yay. Yeah, we have to get ready for our Galentine's to come over.
Yes. So thanks for listening. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. Seriously, please do.
Yes. We have seen...
We need you.
We need you so badly. We have seen, like, which I didn't know on Spotify, you can't leave a review.
Yeah, it's just like...
So annoying. But we've seen our 5-star review or 5-star ratings come through on Spotify, which is so sweet. And then our Apple Podcast girlies, we have seen your reviews, which have been so sweet. And
I feel like the best thing, if you want to support us, is like sharing your stories.
Oh, please
and
do.
Say something.
Tell your
about
friends.
us. Yeah. Because we need to break out of like our like
Pittsburgh girlies.
Yeah.
We love you, and you're our backbone. But tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends that are in other areas.
Exactly. We also started something this week. If you follow us on Instagram, you saw that we are taking submissions for anything and everything. If you need advice, if you want to spill some tea, if you want to just like, keep us up to date on your, keep us up to date on your drama. There's a link in our bio on our link tree for you to go.
It's called Dear Debriefers.
Yes. And so I think maybe next episode we'll start talking about them. But yeah,
we got juicy submissions.
I cannot wait. We didn't like the date one has already released. I hope you guys like that one because that one was so much fun to record.
Yes, but we didn't read those beforehand, but these ones we are reading.
Yeah, we've been kind of reading them as we come through and we're like, oh, I'm going to say this, and this.
Yes.
So we're excited to, give us all of our wisdom.
We are wise.
We love you guys. We will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Bye.